Really solid first scrimmage. Walked away healthy, which is always a plus here in fall camp. Being able to attack it, I think defense probably won the day today. Eliminated some explosive plays, did a good job. In situational defense. Overall, we're able to hit some positive kicks. Overall, protected the ball relatively well on the offensive side of the ball, but certainly a physical day and a good day for both units.
Raiders, Sir James on what?
What stood out from Dante's play today and the offense as a whole?
Say it again.
What stood out from Dante's play?
Stood out?
Yeah, if anything, first impression.
I don't know that anything necessarily stood out. Like I said, I think defense won the day. They were able to get some 3 and outs. But operated efficiently, but we just didn't create any explosives and didn't have some of the downfield passing attack that we've had in other days in fall camp. I've come in here before and told you that the offense won the day today. I feel like defense won that.
Over on the right, Alec.
Yeah, obviously a lot of new guys in that secondary having to work together for the first time. How did they kind of gel today in kind of that first scrimmage action?
Yeah, pretty good. I thought there was good communication. That's one thing that really stood out to me on defense. I thought there was really good communication. When you can get 11 guys playing the same call, you got a chance. So very few moments where there was confusion in the back end there. So overall, all solids from that standpoint.
Olivia in the back.
We've talked about it all off season and spring, I feel like, but a lot of freshmen that have potential to play and a lot of just younger players that are stepping up into bigger roles this season or can step up into bigger roles. In practice, how do you create an environment that's really intense and kind of gets them up to the speed of football you want them to play without kind of crushing their confidence as a coach?
Well, I mean, confidence comes from success, right? So you got to find situations that guys are going to be successful in. And that's always a battle because you want that on both sides of the ball. As sitting in my seat, you get excited after a big play, but then you realize you're also upset because you gave up a big play, right? And same thing for those players. You want to put them in position to be successful. And a lot of times, regardless of the ball's coming to you or not, we want to identify, are guys doing their job? Right? Are they running the route at the right level? Are we blocking the right person? Are we covering the right guy? And, those things I think have really stepped up for those guys. And that's what I want them to realize is you can gain confidence from doing your job. It's not always about a big play catch or a big run or a big tackle. It's about doing your job. That's where you gain confidence.
Right here on the left, James.
We were talking to Aiden about some of the athletic feats he has outside of football, Dan, and was curious, one, has he busted out into these backflips into your pool just yet? And in a serious note of it, though, how much of those athletic abilities that he has outside of football do translate onto a football field when he's as big as he is and has the ability to do all these other things that he does?
Yeah, I don't know if I know the plethora of things that Aiden can do. That being said, yeah, I know I definitely seen him, do some athletic stuff, and you want that quickness, you want that speed on the field for you, that ability to react, and that's certainly shown up at moments in fall camp. I think he's got a lot in him, and this will be a great year for that opportunity to come out.
On the right, Alec.
Yeah, just building off that, I know Tosh said that he cracked one of his ribs giving a bear hug. Same on Aiden. What's maybe the craziest thing you've seen him do, either on or off the football field?
Nothing that crazy, right? He's a talented player. He's very athletic. I like when he's rushing the passer, man. He's done a good job of being a sub rusher for us now at times on third downs. He's shown the ability to anchor on first and second, which is something we needed to see show up from him. He's grown a lot, and there's still a lot of room for growth, but I think he's going to be a really talented player for us.
Back to James.
You mentioned the kicks, just with so many changes in special teams. I was curious about with the first scrimmage-like setting, how did the punting situation look, and also across the special teams unit, because there is so many guys in bigger roles that they didn't have before?
Yeah, I need to go back and be able to watch the film to tell you, because I don't know if I necessarily knew who was punting what when I'm sitting back there with the returner. Overall, I think our coverage units have to do a better job. That wasn't where it needs to be today. So whether that's kickoff cover or punt cover, we got to do a better job in those categories. But it seemed like kick locations were good for the most part. And the kicks that we had opportunities to make, I thought we did a good job putting it through the upright.
Back to the right, Alec.
Yeah, I know you got to look at the film from today, but how has the offensive line been gelling so far through camp? A lot of experience there, but obviously, again, working together for the first time.
Yeah, there's been some real positives. Probably the last 4 practices. I don't know if that'll be the case today, but the last 4 practices, they've hit their target goal when it comes to run average. Today, I don't know if that happened or not. We'll have to go back and be able to evaluate it, but there's been some really positive moments there. They've done a good job of IDing the points and getting to the guys that need to, and they're an aggressive unit, staying connected at the end of the play.
Right here, back to James.
How did you react, and how did Dalen react to the news of yesterday? And with that, does that open the door to Jaden possibly getting a little bit more run at free safety?
Always evaluate. We were multiple guys at multiple positions, but at first I had to get a little bit more clarification on what exactly that all meant. And there's still a road ahead of us in some ways, with this whole process. But I support Dalen. I'm going to let the process continue to play out. Excited for him and what's ahead of us. He's had a really, really good fall camp. I know he's an outstanding young man, so I'm glad he's a part of our team. But obviously, this process still has time that it has to play out, and we'll see how it plays out and be ready to adapt and react as needed.
Back middle.
As the boys start to kind of come together to form as like one unit, talk about one of your proudest moments or something that you're shocked to see that has happened as fall camp has started.
Nothing shocked. I just say, like, we had an overtime period the other day, and the energy and enthusiasm on the sideline was pretty awesome. You would have felt like Autzen Stadium was packed, and that's part of what we talk about is trying to create game day like situations in practice, and our guys have done a really good job of that. Whether it's the juice, the energy and enthusiasm that's required. There's been a couple moments like that in fall camp. Guys getting excited for the person next to them.
Back to James.
We saw certainly Jeremiah and Dylan stand out in the spring game, but now with another 8-9 practices, scrimmage setting, just when you're going to be leaning on redshirt freshman receivers more than a year ago, what stood out about them throughout camp, and if they did anything today that stood out?
Yeah, we've had some big plays. I think both those guys, it was about figuring out what do I need to do, what's my job on this play, and then the contested catches is always a big piece for wideouts, right? You have to be able to go attack the ball, and sometimes you're going to be covered and you still have to go win. I think we've won a lot more on those 50-50 balls against some long DBs that do a good job this fall camp.
In the back, Olivia.
You've really worked to create a family atmosphere here. I mean, Todd has Hatcher here, and then your wife and your son are here. Just can you talk about the importance of family, whether you're working in college football, playing college football, or coaching college football?
Yeah, I would just say again, I've said it before, there is no balance in our sport, right? So we always want to steal moments and try to make sure we get an opportunity to be around our families. And, as I'm walking off the field, I'm seeing a lot of our coaches' families down there on the field ready to greet their husbands, knowing that they're about to go in and grade film from this scrimmage and get prepped for tomorrow. And they're not necessarily going to be at home in 30 minutes, right? They're going to be working for a little bit tonight. And that's what's required to be great. So all of our families make great sacrifices, but luckily we're in a place where they can get up here and spend some time with us when they get the opportunity.
2 more. Alec here on the right.
Yeah. Joe said yesterday that he thought Jaden and Noah were 2 of the best return duos in the country. I guess just from your perspective, what makes those 2 guys so reliable, specifically in return roles?
I think it always starts with decision making, right? You got to be great decision makers back there. There's a lot of things that can happen when that ball's in the air, and it seems simple as a fan. But there's a lot of decisions on if this ball needs to come out, what's the hang time, where's this return need to go? Is getting the ball at the 25 better than trying to attempt a return? All those things kind of factor in. Where is it kicked? And those guys have proven to be great decision makers, and I think that's where it starts in special teams. The number one goal for us is possession of the ball. And they've done a good job of making sure that we get possession of the ball in those moments. And then they're both, big play threats, right? They have the ability to hit it vertical and create some positive plays for us.
Last question goes to James.
Even if not explosive plays today specifically, but at receiver, when you're looking for someone to raise up, especially with these 2 out at either the X or the Z, has anybody over the course of these week and a half or so starting to rise to the occasion and potentially fill that void?
I think a lot of guys have. We've had explosive plays. You name a wideout, they've probably had one, right? And Kyler was a little bit more limited early in camp, but he's been able to do a little bit more lately. From the rest of the group, we've seen each guy step up and make some big plays in big moments. And whether that's a package call where we're able to get them in an advantageous situation, we've had a lot of guys take advantage of those moments.